Welcome back to Module 3, Session 3 in the Module Memory System. Myself, Dr. Shabintaj. We'll start with the session. The contents are we are going to discuss about the non-volatile memory. What are the different types of non-volatile memory? That is read-only memory, and in that how a ROM cell is designed and different types of ROMs, programmable read-only memory. In detail, all these type of ROMs we are discussing. Apart from this, we also discuss the secondary memory called flash memory. Read-only memory. Yes, the what are the demerits of the random access memory? Because of its volatile nature, it will lose the data as soon as the power is off. SRAM and DRAM is one among them. They belong to the category of volatile. Many applications need memory devices to retain the contents after the power is turned off. Yes, obviously, whenever I'm doing something, uh, that means whatever I save the data, I want the data to be retrieved later. That is facilitated by the ROM, which is read-only memory, or it can be secondary storage memory also. I can use, but permanently it stores ROM. Many power is turned on. For example, computer is turned on, the operating system must be loaded from the disk into the memory. The loading of system software like OS from the secondary memory to the main memory is nothing but by running the bootstrap program. This is the very first program which executed by the computer in order to recognize the different peripherals of a computer. It stores information which would load the OS from the disk. It need to restore these instructions so that they will not be lost after the power is turned off. We need to store the instructions into a non-volatile memory. Yes, because very oftenly or every time I cannot change the OS. Today I have loaded the OS. After as soon as I switch off the computer, the OS is gone. It is corrupted. Means no, not possible. That means OS, whatever the software, system softwares I load it, I store it in a memory which is stored permanently and it is not affected. One time during manufacture, it is stored. So, non-volatile memory is read in the same manner as a volatile memory. What is different? Separate writing process is needed to place information in this memory. Normal operation involves only reading of data. That means, as the name says, read only means it is in the read mode only. This type of memory cell is called as ROM. Now let us look into the cell, ROM cell. What does it contain? It contains a transistor and the point P, which is connected to the ground, and this connected to here. If it is connected, it stores a value 0. If it is not connected, that means if the point P is open, means it will have a store the value 1. Now we can see transistor switch is closed at logic value 0. The transistor is connected to the ground because it is connected, hence the value of the T will be 0. Transistor switch is closed and voltage on bit line nearly drops to 0. When it drops to 0, okay, so here that means when it is connected, the voltage at the drop to 0 and that value will be stored as 0 in the bit line. At logic value 1, the transistor switch is open. The bit line remains at the high voltage. To read the state of the cell, the word line is activated. A sense circuit at the end of bit line generates the proper output. If at all it has to store the logic value 1, this will be open. P point will be open. Now let us see what is programmable read-only memory. Read only memory, the data which is written into it, it is done during the it is written during the manufacturing. But prom programmable read only memory, it allows the data to be loaded by the user. And programmability is achieved by inserting what? Fuse at the point P. The same here. Here fuse is added. In the ROM cell, before PROM is programmed, the memory contains all zeros. After programming, wherever necessary, I can add ones, the other cells zeros. A user can insert ones at required location by burning out fuse using high current pulse. By applying the high current pulse, that specific cell values fuse I can burn, and then it will store the value. This process is irreversible. That means once it is fuse is burned, whatever the value stored wherever it is zeros and ones is stored, you cannot change it again. What are the advantages? It provides flexibility. What is the flexibility? It provides a flexibility of programming. And because when compared to ROM, it is done during the manufacturing, but here it can be programmed. It is faster, it is less expensive because they can be programmed directly by the user. Now let us see EEPROM. EEPROM allows, which is erasable reprogrammable read-only memory. It stores the data to be erased and new data can be loaded. Here it provides an additional feature of erasing. In a cell, a connection to ground is always made at P and a special transistor is used. So that means a connection to the cell P, what we have seen in this, it is done at always to the ground and special transistor is used. What does that special transistor do? The transistor has the ability to function as normal transistor or disabled transistor, that is always turned off. Normal transistor means it can store and it can with the high voltage, and it can disabled means it will always be off. The transistor can be programmed to behave as a permanently open switch. Open switch means it will have a logic value. By open switch means you can inject a charge into it. Charge into it means it will store the value 1. Erasure requires dissipating the charges. That means you have to remove the charge trapped inside the transistor of the memory cell. This can be done. That means whatever is the charge stored in the transistor should be dissipate. This can be done by using exposing it to the UV rays, UV ultraviolet light. Hence it is called erasable reprogrammable read-only memory. What are the advantages? It provides flexibility during the development phase of digital system. It is also capable of retaining the stored information for a long time. But what is the disadvantage? The chip must be physically removed. That means in order to expose to the UV rays, it has to be physically removed from the circuit for reprogramming. The entire contents will be erased, not the selected one, by the UV light. Read-only memories in the EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. It will erase the contents by the electricity rather than exposing it to the UV lights. Physically, rather than physically removed from the circuit, you can erase it. EEPROMs, the contents can be stored and erased electrically. This is an advantage. The next, flash memory. What is flash memory? It has similar approach to EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. It reads the contents of single cell but write the contents of an entire block of cell. Reading is only one cell but writing is a block writing. Flash devices have greater density. The life of the flash devices are very high. Higher capacity and low storage cost per bit. The capacity that the information can store is very high, and low storage cost per bit is there. What is the power consumption of flash memory is the power consumption is low, which makes it attractive to use in the equipment, that is the equipment all the equipments that are battery driven. You can think of what are the devices which are battery driven. Your mobile phone is also have a flash memory. Your card, then your calculator, so many are flash memory. Single flash chips are not sufficiently large. in order to store the so much of information. Larger memory modules are fabricated using the flash cards and flash drives. What are the advantage? Flash drives have greater density, which leads to higher capacity and low cost per bit. It requires single power supply voltage and consumes very less power. What are the flash cards and flash drives? There are two methods for implementing larger memory. These are flash cards and the flash drives. Flash cards. What is the way? One way of constructing larger module is to mount flash chip on the small card. Such flash card have standard interface. The card is simply plugged in a conveniently accessible slot. Memory size of the card can be 8 or 32 or 64 MB megabytes. A minute of music can be stored in 1 MB of memory. So in the 1 minute memory, 1 minute of music can be stored in 1 MB. Hence, 64 MB flash cards can store an hour. Now, flash drives. Larger flash memory can be developed by replacing the hard disk drive. The flash drives are designed to fully emulate the hard disk, which can replicate. The flash drives are solid state electronic devices that have no movable parts. They are fixed. What are the advantages of flash drives? They have shorter seek and access time, which results in a faster response. Seek time means the time needed to access the data. They have low power consumption. Obviously, if all flash devices have low power consumption, they're attractive for battery driven applications. They are insensitive to vibration. They cannot tolerate the vibration. What is the disadvantage? The capacity of flash drive is less than 1 GB. It is less than the hard disk. Is less than the hard disk, which is of greater than 1 GB. Main disadvantage is flash drive is less than 1 GB, but hard disk is greater than 1 GB. It leads to higher cost per bit. Yes, as the number of bits increases, the cost also will increases. Flash memory will weaken after it has been written in a number of times. That means more writing, more writing. If you repeatedly keep on writing it, it becomes very weak. This is the end of this session 3 with the references shown here. Thank you.